Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks and plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig ghost, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? Got another Brick World Chicago interview, and look, this guy needs no introduction. First, before that, hopefully you have enjoyed the others. They were a blast to interview. They were a blast to edit. And I went back and listened to every single second of them multiple times. Great. Just absolutely greatness. So with that in mind, what we have coming up this time is with Martin from Bricksnaps. You've probably seen him all over the Instagram because that is where he makes his home, and stuff like that. And had an opportunity finally to get to interview him in person. So I hope you guys enjoy. I've been waiting for this one. I've got Martin from Bricksnaps. Oh, yeah. Finally. And dude, your piece that you brought, your pieces, your two displays that you brought, center display out in the middle of the open for everybody to look at. I mean, you've got the Rapunzel Tower, and I haven't seen Encanto. I don't know anything about the house, but it looks incredible. And I saw you disassembling yesterday to adjust some batteries, replace some batteries and stuff. So tell me about the builds you brought, man. They're amazing.
So that's, first of all, really kind, because there's so much really amazing stuff here. I think amazing is too much of a descriptive, because it's a replica of something Disney have done, and it's in a Disney pop culture theme. There's amazing everywhere else, right? Yeah. So I want to ground that, but I like building Disney. It brings me joy. It's magical, it's mystical, it's enchanted. So the Encanto house, it means enchanted. That's what it means. And it was a build that a couple of friends were just like, do this, Martin. You've just done a grey trench run, grey castle. Do something else with colour. That's what you do really well. And so that's what I did. I came back from a convention, and it was in Louisville, Kentucky, and I always come back really energized. Sat down with my wife, we watched the movie, didn't get all the way through. I said, I've got it, let me go. And I knocked it out in 4.5 weeks.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but thank you. I'll take that incredible there.
Hey, you know what? You've got to take it somewhere. You can be modest and humble all you want, but somewhere you've got to say, you know what, thanks.
So I have to give, all my builds typically are based off something I've seen where some of our artists has come up with a concept and an idea for a reason. So when I talk about Encanto, I now think, okay, the aim was to really highlight the Colombian culture, Colombian architecture, Colombian lifestyle, family values. And there's nothing, I would never have thought about any of that if I hadn't built this build. And this build was a build of discovery. There was nothing to work from, no material other than screenshots on my iPad, period. And so I had to discover what the building looked like inside, and you figure out the staircases are like this. You have these open alleyways for this way. There's gates here for this way. It's open air for this reason. And that led me to learn about the Colombian lifestyle and culture. So for me, it was like a real treat to build it. As people sometimes build sets and enjoy it, I didn't want to stop building. I was actually kind of sad when I was done building, because I was having a really good experience.
Yeah. So I saw you kind of slide it apart yesterday. Obviously, you build it in sections to be able to transport.
Sure.
It does have some lights to it. Yep. So how did that process come about? Because it's always one of the things I find the most trickiest is getting lighting and wiring and stuff like that. So how'd you go about that?
Yeah, I've never really lit anything before. So my build process, I build knowing I'm going to transport, so I have to build for that, to your point. I know I've got to light some aspects. So the build, the house is a character, and it's alive, and it changes shapes, and it ends up being destroyed. Spoiler alert, but people should hopefully see it.
By now.
Spoiler alert for you. It ends up crumbling when I think it's emotionally stressed and it's torn. So there's a lot of movement. Windows move, floors move, etc. The house takes care of some of the characters. So I wanted to put movement in, but I don't do movement very well. But in a build like that, it's also, it's scaled to a minifigure scale. It's big enough, but movement would just distract. So I had to figure out, okay, what's next? So then lighting comes in, and there's one of the key elements, and I think Meher, one of the main animators, they drew the candle first of all. When the candle blows out, the house collapses. So I knew I had to have that lit, which meant the other doors, which are doors to the rooms of the family members, which are magical or enchanted and glowing, I had to have those lit and glowing. They have movement in them, so I had to find the right combination to have movement. So the movement is coming from the light. And as you walk around the house, as you look at different angles, the light is going to draw your eye, and so you'll see movement. So I wanted physical movement, but I didn't get it. So you get visual movement in the day.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So you said you took 4 weeks for that build. As you go through your build process, you just sit down and you keep going. Where does that come into play then with the lighting? You know, you're seeing it from different perspectives. Is that something you thought about ahead of time with the lighting? Is that something as you went on, you're like, you know what, I kind of want it to look like this, or I want to see it from this angle? How did you manage that?
So we'll go to the other part of the lighting. So you've got lights for doors, but there's other lighting, roof lighting.
Okay.
So there's lots of balconies on here, and actually, the Hanlon brothers told me I need to light something and do an interior. So in January, here we go. So it was a challenge. I was like, I'll take that challenge. But if it wasn't lit in certain places, it would be dark and people wouldn't look. So every build I do is designed to move you around at different angles to see stuff and keep looking back.
Okay.
So without that, I knew people wouldn't get the experience of the house that I wanted to get. I don't know if that answered the question.
That does answer my question. That does answer my question. So it's transportable. I mean, are you going to take this anywhere else? Is this going to be something you just kind of leave up at home, or you going to shelve it and never bring it out again? Yeah. What's the plan for this?
So I like my things to be seen.
Okay.
I don't have to be here for them to be seen, but I enjoy knowing someone's seen it and has taken joy. So there's another show. I think I've got one more show this year.
Okay.
And it's sitting, and I think I've got it in a Christmas window display.
Oh my goodness.
Display that I did in Alabama.
Okay.
This year we talked about that. I think I locked that in. But I mean, I actually would love for it to sit somewhere. I don't know.
Library, man.
Well, no, I might call up Disney Animation and see if they want to sit there.
You never know.
If they just want to have it for a bit and babysit it for me.
You know what? Yeah. They could babysit it, like the Lego house babysit stuff for a year. You know, by all means, go ahead and babysit it.
But it talks to the nature of, like, it doesn't sit out in my room. My room is my studio. It's my workspace.
Sure.
It's not a place for finished pieces. I don't have stuff on display at home. It's a clean slate.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and work on it. But I come to shows because I want people to have a bit of joy in what I built. Like, it's a little bit of give back to the world that I think I can do.
Well, I noticed yesterday when the crowd started kind of coming in and stuff, and you just kind of step back and people just kind of migrate up to you and are chatting with you, and you know, it's different from my perspective. I'm seeing all this and everything, and you know, I'm chatting with you now. But what is that like for somebody that's designing something like you, for that experience, for the people to enjoy, you know, and you're kind of giving something of yourself to the community? What is that like? What does that feel for you?
Okay, so I'll tell you what it feels to me and then why and how I do what I do.
Sure.
So one of my favorite people is Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, okay.
I'm in sales. I think he's the best salesman ever. Some people might not see it, but whenever he's in a restaurant, and he's working on a restaurant, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, he'll always tell the chefs, why are you out there walking around asking how people are? Do they like it? Because they're always going to say, yeah, people are polite. Mm-hmm. You want to listen to unsolicited feedback. Maybe ask them a direct question of, you know, what would you improve? What am I missing? That's what he would tell people. So this is what I do here. So I choose purposely not to sit behind a table. This is me. Mm-hmm. I like, my builds can be walked around. I like to stand outside, and I listen for people saying, this needs to be done this way, this needs to be done that way. So my Tangled, Rapunzel's tower here, I didn't have a Mother Gothel in there. So some girls like, where's Mother Gothel? Like, come back in 20 minutes, I'm going to go make one and put one in. This was maybe a year ago. One girl told me the hair needs to be shorter. Took the hair shorter. Another one told me there's meant to be the boat that she gets in to go off with see the lanterns, go a boat, stuck it in. I can only be better if I listen to the people who really absorb the content and media and live it. I don't live it that much. So I do that. And plus, you know, I'll often hear, you know, parents talking to their children and you know, I can see that intimate conversation. I might just lean in and be like, do you want me to take a picture? And then I get a little bit of joy when they realize I built it later,
right.
and I ask them to take a picture. Or I'll just have a conversation about this is why I did this, or I think some guy, what did he say? I'd hit some Mickeys. He's like, he should have done more hidden Mickeys. I said, it's a really good point. I said, I'm going to do that. He said, oh. I said, no. I said, there are actually lots more. You haven't found them, so part of it's you, but I will put some more into the builds. But I get immense satisfaction from not being center stage around that, but being able to pull out what I need to and give what I need to at the time. So.
I like hearing that. That's really neat. You don't hear that much often. I mean, you hear people very humble and modest about their builds. It's not that great or whatever. But kids are brutally honest, especially. Yeah. And if you're, like you said, you're actively listening for those things. I mean, there's no better feedback because they don't have a filter. They're going to be blunt.
They don't have. I think they say things without judgment.
Yes.
And we say things often with judgment.
Yeah.
Or hear it with a judgment.
Right.
It's completely without judgment. Like, okay, I better listen to something without judgment. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Tangled Rapunzel tower build that you have over there. I mean, it's not the tallest thing in the room, but it is.
Thanks for pointing that out.
I just happened to see the space rocket.
Phil Strasmussen from Lego Master Season 2 is the tallest thing in the room.
Yeah, you're probably right. So you've got that thing, and I mean, I'm looking at it straight down the alleyway, which I was blessed to be able to have this table to be able to see your stuff from here. Tell me a little bit about how your process went into that. Was it just I'm watching the film and all right, I'm done. I need to get into it?
Yeah, so this hobby is I say it's my hobby. In the last year it's become my hobby. It's Father's Day. I got goosebumps as I'm going to say this. But it's something I started for my children because we came to one of these shows when my son was 7 and he said, so he wanted to be here. So we got in that way. So it's been a father-son thing. I'll tell you something, I have narcolepsy, so my face goes in emotionally and I can't talk. It's part of it. So up until last year, it was something we did, and then my daughter, we would do. And we did shows, and I built this giant Hofstee, the first one we went to, and I built a tiny little Aurora build, Sleeping Beauty. And my daughter would say, Sleeping Beauty. And the end of the show, his dad comes along with a girl in a Sleeping Beauty costume. He said, we spent all this money, all this time, and she's cried the whole time. There's been nothing for her, and you did this.
Oh,
so
wow.
Since then, it's been my goal to be that person. Try to do something that other people build Disney, but let me do something to give that's not given. There's not a whole lot of Disney colourful builds here, and girls don't have to be driven, like boys don't have to be, but they are. Naturally they are. And so the Rapunzel's Tower was when I started working with my daughter. I've shared pictures. Like we had like an aerial undersea palace, and we had all these other little aspects of the build. We had an Alice in Wonderland build, like this whole princess build. I built it myself. I built a Rapunzel's Tower. We actually bought it here to Brick World Chicago in 2017. I had a negative experience. Had people tell me I copied someone else. I did this. Like, I said I'd never come back here. I didn't feel welcome. Like I didn't feel welcome.
Yeah.
But anyway, besides that, we continued to work on this tower, change it, get it bigger. And 2.5 years ago, we got it where it's at. And a guy called Abner Finley, Quick Alabama, came along and said, you need to start taking that places, show it around. So I listened to him. I try to listen to people who I think have wisdom.
Right.
And so that's why I have it and why it's still here. It takes a lot of work to transport that right and bring it right. So it's a part of who I am in my Lego journey. And so now this is my hobby, which I like. My kids are out for now. Right? They might come back. But
right.
It kind of gives me that little bit of connection. Like, they're not here.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that obviously, good thing we're not on camera because the emotion that you're displaying right now. I mean, it's important. I mean, that you please that one kid out of the entire show, and that's what it's about. I mean, it's a giant community. The negativity, there's going to be negativity everywhere. I mean, it always happens. But it's you need to take that thing out and display it. You need to go over here and do this. And I mean, you've got people ogling at it, the tower as we speak right now, just pointing out details and stuff like that. And it's it's fantastic to have somebody like you that is emotionally invested, that does care. And I'm not saying other people don't care, but to hear it, to see it, to feel it, being a few feet apart here, it's a blessing for the community. It really is.
Well, there's a thank you.
You know.
And we're not the same. None of us are the same here.
Right.
We all function in different ways, and that's really good that we do that way. But you mentioned a point about sometimes there's negativity everywhere, right? And
right.
I was raised to go ahead and just step up and prove people wrong. So that's kind of what I did.
I think you did. I think you can continue to do it.
But that's not my drive and passion.
No.
Yeah.
No, but so you've got some really cool stuff built. Moto's coming by in his cat head. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that thing is scary
cat
looking.
Gloves as well.
Yeah, he's got his cat gloves as well. So, are we going to see you at any other shows with your builds later this year? I mean, we're halfway through the year now.
So I'll be in. So the owner of Brick Universe has been really gracious and let me display at some of their events. And so I'll be at Raleigh, North Carolina in July with that.
Okay.
I think that's the only one I really have scheduled. My workflow with building, like my career work and workflow of building, like come October, I start ramping up building rapidly. It gets a little bit colder outside, less darker hours. So I think that's the only one I plan to do. I'd like to get to BrickCon. If I do, I've just got to figure out how to freight something out there because I want. I can come for my experience, to meet people, chat with people, I enjoy that, but if I'm making that step away from my family time, taking time off work, the expenses I want to, in my mind, think it's like more valuable than what I get out of it. Can I give to a community that hasn't seen something that I think that they might enjoy? So I have to rationalize that, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, and you and I chatted the other day. I mean, we've all got full-time jobs, day jobs, and coming to shows is great, and you've got to work that out with family and everything else. So did you come by yourself this time?
Yeah, this was riding by myself. Yeah, it was just a cruise up. First time I've done that to an event like this, Brick Universe. I go by myself. So, but it's different functionality. It's way more a public event, which is great. Just different. Again, not the same. I don't know the word different. Just the same. In a good way. And this is a good way. But yeah, this is the first time, and lots of people I hadn't met before, and I did enjoy that part of it, but kind of have to pace yourself. It's a long few days, right?
It is a long few days. I very much, yesterday I got back to the hotel room and I zonked out for a few hours. It's just, you give, and it's great to chit-chat and experience with other people and things like that, but it just wears you out.
Yeah, it's emotionally draining, right?
It is emotionally draining.
So I think it's really important to look at any of our interests, what you do, what I do, what everyone else is. Like, if it drains us emotionally, so to also recharge us.
Yes.
The thing is recharge us, and this recharges me. So the thing I did before I left was cleaned out my workspace, work studio, tidied it up, sorted, made it look good, because I know when I get home, I know I'm going to be building, and I know I will have the energy, and I will just knock it out.
Yes.
I've got a good few things I'm going to knock out.
So I don't want you to give away any spoilers. You have some things, it sounds like, working in the brain at the moment.
Yeah, so I love spoilers.
Oh, okay. All right. To give us something to look forward to.
And sometimes they don't come to fruition, and someone else can build it. I don't care. No, I've got 3 castles. That one came on my wheelhouse yesterday. Actually, 3 castles that I've been sourcing and working on. One is Snow White. I haven't seen Snow White's castle, so the Evil Queen's castle, built out of Lego yet. So it's iconic. I knew Snow White movies coming out, or action series, or something like action series. I think it's at the end of the year. I'm working on the cottage, so that's like my energy. That's like my appetizer as I do research. So that's one. Cinderella Castle is like, that's the build Martin will have.
Sure.
It's been done really, really well. So when I build something, I have to think: am I adding to the community or subtracting from it, or am I taking from someone else's spotlight as well? And I need to make sure that castle is built in a different way that doesn't take from those who've done really well. So I'm working with some people who are in a Disney space and Disney creators in different fields to be like, okay, how can we make this something different? There's a cake designer in Brazil. There's a person who's got my shirt, talk to her, like getting different ideas. So that's a big project. And then Rapunzel is crucial to like daughter story, our story. And I didn't even know there was a Tangled series. And so I just connected with the executive producer on that and gave me a couple of names of things, like check these ideas out, but there's a castle in there, which I think was Rapunzel's parents' castle, which I've always wanted to do, but didn't know how to make it relevant. So that just came to the front of the list of everything yesterday. So that's the one that's going to be cranked out first.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Maybe, well, I'm sure if you knocked out Encanto in 4 weeks, I'm sure you'll have something ready by North Carolina.
Well, actually, so no, I've got Mary Poppins too. I've built the main house. I need to have the motivation to build the other 2 houses to build a scene. That will probably go there. I like to bring something new to a show each time.
Yeah.
In case I see someone who's seen me before and I don't want them to.
Right. Hey, this is the same.
Great.
This guy.
Do better, Martin. But yeah, the other ones won't be until the end of the year. I'm quite sure on that.
Awesome.
But I'm pieced up. Oh, and a Star Wars one. So I love Star Wars. I can't
Star Wars.
So I've built a few Endor builds before. A 16-foot one I forgot to photograph.
Oh my goodness.
And Beyond the Brick didn't video it. They walked through
Those handlings, man.
Nah, they missed it. The one they missed, I'm still bitter about it. I've got where we destroyed it. But that was a long one. I built one 10-foot and they videoed that one. I'm going to give this a different perspective of Endor, which is, for me, you mentioned height and like how tall things are tall. I want someone to look and then look up and be like, oh my gosh, that's Endor.
Okay.
So I'm thinking giant trees, which is what they are. I want that perspective. So maybe a 4-foot space. I've sourced my brick. My lug bulk order came in and I got like 10,000 green little leaves and 20,000 of the other leaves. So I'm sourced up, ready.
You're ready to go.
That one's ready to crank out. And I'm thinking about making that a bit more of a community build with people locally. And like, this is what we're going to do because we just have to knock out a few things.
Yeah.
So those are what's in the wheelhouse.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got your Instagram popping as well over there, the Bricksnaps. You do content on there, which is cool. Let's talk about, you're at this point now, you're bringing some incredible builds to shows. Where'd the Lego journey begin? Was it you pop out of the womb and you're like, plastic brick, let's go? Or later in life you find it? Or where'd the passion come from?
I think we grew up, we didn't have any toys. My story is pretty going to be similar to many. I had Lego, 4 brothers. Never had a set built in my life as a kid. One of my pictures that my mum has of me is with a big space station thing I built, or whatever, it wasn't. Sorry. That guy, I'm interrupted. I love your shirt. Happy Father's Day. You're a Dadalorian. Yeah, we're in the same shirt.
No, I got it.
Sorry to sidetrack.
The Dadalorian shirts are here today for Father's Day, which is awesome.
That's what happens when we're sitting here live. I get distracted pretty quick. So that happened. Didn't care about Lego. I grew up, and then my son wanted Ninjago Lego, and I was buying Ninjago Lego for him. Didn't enjoy it because I had to build the sets. Then he was building all the sets, and I really didn't enjoy it because then he wants everyone from the Ninjago series. This is when Ninjago had just come out, so we got everything, and that was fine. And I didn't care about Lego. And then we came to Brick Fair, Alabama in 14 or 15, and we walk around, he's like, hey Dad, I want to be one of those people. And he's shy, and I value people shy, and people don't understand I'm actually a shy person.
Yeah.
That's why this is emotionally draining sometimes. And I want to be behind the booth, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
So a year later, he's like, Dad, are we doing that? Oh my gosh. And he built a little Minecraft world, and no one was going to look at it, because the shame of a lot of this is people don't spend time to look at the smaller details, which is so good. Which, by the way, if anyone's listening, they go to a show, just stand in a space and stand there for 15, 20 minutes like an art gallery and look at this. So anyway, so I built, at the time, 9-foot half scene? I don't know. And I was still learning. I didn't know what Bricklink was. I didn't know what other vendors were. I knew nothing. And then we went to Virginia the next year with an indoor scene. Then it started to be, okay, the Maggie wants something, and then we worked on a Rapunzel test. So it was always a childhood thing. Lego room, that was like, as a dad, I spent all the time with the kids, building Lego, playing my Lego, doing Lego. And that's kind of one of the emotional things from earlier. It's like that aspect has gone. Kids do their own things, so we have to, as parents, we have to kind of rationalize that and understand that. And it's not easy just to like switch the flip. But last year it was when Grayson, the Brick Universe, reached out and said, "Man, you've got some cool stuff. I want to see all of it together. I want to see it all in a room." And people come into your life and they have that little bit of confidence that sometimes you need. Like, sure, I didn't tell him I didn't have everything built, so I knocked everything out. Rebuilt a Quidditch build, rebuilt Jabba's palace. What else did I build? Rebuilt the trench run. Like, yeah, I got it. And that became Lego for me.
Yeah.
Then. And this show is the Lego for me and what I get out of it. So that's the journey. I'm not really a collector. I'm not emotional. I am emotional. I'm not emotionally attached to bricks, minifigs, or anything like that whatsoever. So
your attachment is to creating and displaying and sharing with the community.
Yeah, and my mindset was I'd always build something, take it to a show, and then destroy it. And then I realized that that's, again, a lot for me. And if I want to be for other people might not have seen it. And I've got friends who are on, you mentioned Instagram, friends who are in different spaces on Instagram. We always have great conversations about, should I share this content more? And they're like, well, you've got 10,000 more people than you did 6 months ago. Share it again because they didn't see it. They haven't looked through.
Yeah.
Share something that it's interesting because people don't always see it at the time you think they're showing it once.
You're right. Yeah. Well, and you never know when somebody's going to see something that you may have been like, you know what, it's already played out, and they're going to grab inspiration from that. Right. And, just what you brought today. Let's say, for instance, somebody here sees the Encanto house and they're like I said, I've not seen the film, but maybe they want to build another scene from the movie, and they're like, oh my goodness, I could do something like this. The inspiration's there.
Or maybe I'm going to point out a lady with blonde hair over there. Her name's Megan. That leads into it. I get in the elevator and she's like, Bricksnaps. I'm like, hi. Everyone has Instagram handles. I don't think she's ever shown her face, and she tells me what she's done. She's like, I built a Quidditch pitch, and I built it, and it inspired by what you were doing. And I was like, okay, great, and I walked over, I said, show me it, and there were things I was like, oh my gosh, there's things I can add to my one, and I was pleased because she'd built something that in a way I had built and people built before me.
Yeah.
It's not mine, it's not my build.
Right.
Universal Studios own the Quidditch, so there's not too many ways to build it differently. Right. But she'd added other things. It's like, okay, I'm going to take from what you've done and add that to mine, just so you know.
Yeah.
But she's one who's like, I saw that and I wanted to do it this way, and I think go for it. I was talking to a couple of people like, man, I want to build the house just like this. I said, do it. It's yours, right?
Yeah,
it's hard to do. I mean, it's not my design. It's Disney's design. And then I've got Ben over here, Ben Pritchford, who's the AFOL that when I came here in 2017, like one of the ones who I connected with and chatted, and he's an inspiration for me, and I think we bounced each other off ideas off each other, and we both ended up building an Encanto house at the same time. And I told him, I was like, someone sent me a picture of Lego Scape sculpture and they're building it. I was like, oh no! And Ben was like, oh no! And so we kind of bounced off each other, and our builds are not the same, but the same style house, and they're built differently, and they're built with different people. And I really welcome that, right? I love it. And there's actually things from Ben, so I'm like, I should have done that. And he won't say the same thing about me. And there's a giant castle next to him as well.
Right, yeah.
Super. So, yeah. So I think, like most ideas of builds, especially if they're based off something I have no ownership to that idea. I have no ownership to a technique. Even if it's something I'm like, I did this, well, it's pretty selfish of me to say, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I think in any community, we only grow from being like, do it, let me show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And so on Instagram, I would do live streams on Sundays when I was doing Encanto House, and I'd show, here's my process, this is what I've done, this is what I'm doing. Some people don't like spoilers because they don't want someone to get there before them or take my idea. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My idea, the way I build it, I own it. You do your one, you own it. It's great. Celebrate that.
It came from your mind.
Sure.
There you go. Well, it's funny that you mentioned about the lady in the elevator and taking what you had done. Well, Disney first had done, but taking what you had done and adding on to it, because that's what I heard with a few people yesterday was how they started out and they would build a kit, and then it was one of the guys that has all the aircraft on the far end of the room, and he would buy a kit and then modify it, and then some in the way that he would want. And then it's nice to see, and it happens a lot where people, I'm going to take this design, I like what you've done, but I want to add something slightly different. But that's how the community works. There is no, for the most part, it's mine, you can't build that.
Right.
So
I'm a grown man, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
A grown woman can do whatever they want. But
absolutely.
I look at so many people's work and I'm like, I'm going to take that and put that in. So there's someone who built this Care Bear house. Beautiful. I didn't know what Care Bear house was.
Okay.
But the picture was like next to it, like beautiful.
Yeah.
And I've been struggling with, I've got another build. Struggling with finishing my Alice in Wonderland little vignette fantasy world deal. I've done pieces with it. I've been wanting to build the Alice in Wonderland Queen's Castle that's in Disneyland Paris.
Okay.
And the technique she has and the way she's done it just solved my problem. And I told her, I'm going to take that and use these, expand a bit. I couldn't do it without Brick Built Babe, I think it is, without her having built that.
Yeah.
So she grew me as a builder.
That's awesome. Well, it's Father's Day. I'm a father, you're a father, all the fathers that are out there. Obviously, you guys are going to hear this after Father's Day, but hope everybody's having a good Father's Day. And Martin, thanks so much for coming to join me. I had to track you down. I know you were busy yesterday, and your cup is full right now of emotion, energy, and then we'll see what happens at 3 o'clock when the show shuts down. But I look forward to seeing you again. Brick Rodeo, or not Brick Rodeo, Brick World next year, and I don't know. Do you do the the Alabama show?
Yeah, I don't think he's doing next year, but normally I'm there. But yeah, no, thank you for having me. You do good here in the community as well. This gives a different experience, right, from YouTube, Flickr, Twitch, Instagram. It gives that different sound. When I'm driving, I listen to these podcasts, and we can do it while we're working, headphones in.
Yeah.
So you add to the community with what you're doing, so thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. That's where I'm like, stop.
Stop that, go on.
No. So, guys, check Martin out. His Bricksnaps on Instagram. Really cool stuff. Get in when he goes live, does his conversations and stuff like that. You could learn something new and add to your build. So, Martin, thanks again, and we'll see you again.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Martin is a fantastic guy to talk with and just have general conversation with, whether it be Lego or other things. Just a very nice, personable guy. Hopefully you get a chance to see some of his builds at other shows. If you got to see it at Brick World Chicago, consider yourself blessed. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.